So today, we're going to take a look at the Gravity Cojones Expert Dirt Jumper, which is one of the most affordable dirt jumpers on the market. So you may be asking, why would you want a dirt jumper? The popular answer would be so you can learn to hit massive jumps and turn into a jumping master. But for me, a dirt jumper is a great way to practice and hone not only my jumping skills, but my pumping and cornering skills as well. So in this video, I'm going to go over the assembly process and go in depth on the features, specs, and riding impressions of the Gravity Cojones. So let's get to it. So the bike comes in your standard bike box, but it's pretty heavy, so make sure to be careful when moving, and if possible, have someone help you move it. After opening, the bike was assembled about 85%. All you have to do is install the handlebars, put on the front wheel, and install the pedals. The whole process only took me about 20 minutes or so. And even if you're a beginner mechanic, you should have no problem putting the bike together yourself. And I went through the whole bike, and there were no scratches, and all the bolts were tight, and everything looked great. The Cojones has a 6061 aluminum frame with a beautiful purple paint job, but you can also get it in matte black, matte gray, or burnt orange. The frame tubing has a nice shape to it and has external cable routing for easy maintenance. And something that Gravity has added as well is mounts for a water bottle, so you can stay hydrated while at the pump track or the bike park. And the welds on the frame are also surprisingly nice. And I've gone over this frame and all the welds are consistent throughout. So the Cojones Expert has a head tube angle of 67.2 degrees, a C-tube angle of 70.5 degrees, a C-tube length of 325 millimeters, a head tube length of 115 millimeters, a standover height of about 26.5 inches, a wheelbase of 1014 millimeters, 392 millimeter chain stays, that weighs in around 29 pounds, and it's priced at $500 at BikesDirect.com. The bike comes in the RST Dirt T coil fork with 100 millimeters of travel. It has a Pro Max 60mm stem and an FSA headset. The wheels are 26-inch Weinmann Zach X double-walled alloy rims with 36 spokes and KT ball bearing hubs. The tires are Kenda small block 8s with a 2.35-inch width. It also comes with tubes with Trader valves. It has a chromoly 3-piece crankset with 175mm crank arms and 25-tooth chainring. The rear cassette is a 12-tooth. It has a rear Tektro MD M300 mechanical disc brake with 160mm rotor. And just something of note, I did swap out a couple different parts just for preferential reasons. The first being is these really nice purple grips from Marquee. The next thing I swapped out were the handlebars. And there's nothing wrong with the stock bars, the problem was they were 680 width, which is just too narrow for me. So I swapped them out for a pair of nuke-proof neutrons that I had lying around. The last thing I swapped out were the pedals. The bike did come with pedals, but they were some cheap plastic ones, so I decided to swap them out with some Shimano Saints that line around my garage. So just get this out there ahead of time. I'm not a young guy, and I'm not that great at jumping, so buying this dirt jumper was more about becoming better at jumping, having more control in the air, improving my cornering, and working on my pumping skills. So admittedly, I was pretty nervous the first time I went to the local bike park. The last time I'd ridden a bike this small and compact was back in the 90s when I was a kid, and I had a GT BMX bike. But back in those days, I would ride with my buddies jumping off sidewalks, so rolling to a jump line or pump track was pretty foreign to me. So in the past, when I would go to the bike park, I would just take my hardtail mountain bike, and my least favorite part of the bike park was the pump track. But once I took my first lap on the pump track on the dirt jumper, I couldn't believe the amount of speed the dirt jumper could carry. It was mind-boggling. And quite honestly, after having taken this bike out a bunch of times, the pump track is my favorite part of the bike park. Next, I decided to take the Gravity on the jump line. And like I said previously, jumping is not my jam. It's just that I'm not comfortable in the air. But after about 3 or 4 runs, I started feeling really comfortable and was having so much fun. The dirt jumper allows a lot of movement in the air, and you can feel when you make mistakes or when you jump smoothly. And one of my favorite features about the dirt jumper is the short rear end. It makes the bike super snappy and really easy to manual. And when it came how the bike itself performed, I'm really happy. The frame feels nice and compliant, and I did land up short a couple times on the jump line, and it never had a harsh feeling. The bike has a very direct feeling where every movement and adjustment you make, the bike instantly reacts. It was actually kind of nice because a bike like this will expose all of your weaknesses. So just to get in some final thoughts, I really like this bike. So far, it's dramatically exceeded my expectations, and I'm really impressed by it. And for the money, there's not a dirt jumper that I'm aware of that has this good of a build at this price. And even though there's a lot of good in this bike, the only weakness that I could find is the fork. The thing is, it's not a bad beginner fork, but since it's a cheaper coil fork, there's just no adjustability. But I'm sure if someone who's 110 pounds rides this bike, the fork might not bother them, but I'm considerably heavier, so there is a lot of suspension bob. The next question is, should you get a dirt jumper? And I say yes. These things are so much fun to ride, and even more importantly, it exposes your weaknesses as a rider. When you mess a jump up, the bike lets you know. But if you clean a jump or carve a corner perfectly, the bike also lets you know as well. And quite honestly, riding the dirt jumper has been the most fun I've had on a bike in a long time. But the biggest question is, should you buy this bike, the Gravity Cojones Expert? And you know what? I think if you're looking to get into dirt jumping or riding pump tracks and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, then yes, I absolutely think you should. This bike is about 20 to 30% cheaper than other dirt jump bikes with the same exact build, and I truly believe it punches way above its price point. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Also, if you're interested in buying one of these bikes, I've left a link in the description to BikesDirect.com, which is the only website that I could find this bike for this price. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great one.